Donald Trump once told the world he was the only leader who could stop the forever wars. He branded himself the ultimate negotiator, the man who walked into North Korea, the man who stayed out of new quagmires. But on February 28, 2026, the branding died. In its place stood the architect of Operation Epic Fury, while the pundits were predicting another year of maximum pressure sanctions. Trump decided the time for pressure was over. He authorized 900 missiles in 12 hours. The goal? A total decapitation of the Iranian leadership. To his supporters, it's a masterstroke. To his critics, it's madness. But in an advanced world, why are we still using 20th century violence to solve 21st century problems? I'm Malik. Today we aren't just looking at a war. We are looking at the receipts of an empire that has spent its future to buy a desert. Let's dive deep. To understand why we are striking Tehran today, we have to look at the wreckage of Baghdad 23 years ago. The U.S. entered Iraq on a promise of freedom and a fear of weapons of mass destruction. The weapons didn't exist, but the bill did. The receipt: $2.9 trillion. That is the cost of the Iraq War and Syria, including veteran care through 2050. Think about that number. This amount could have provided comprehensive health care for every single uninsured American for the next 20 years. We traded the health of a nation for a smoking gun that never was. The U.S. removed Saddam Hussein to stabilize the region. Instead, they removed the only barrier holding back Iran. By destroying Iraq, the U.S. inadvertently built the Shiite crescent that they are fighting today. We spent $2.9 trillion to empower the very enemy we are now spending another trillion to destroy. Then came the longest war, 20 years in the mountains of Afghanistan. The opportunity cost? This could have fully funded the tuition for every single college student in the United States for 15 years. Every doctor, every engineer, every scientist, fully paid for. Instead, we spent 2 decades trying to build a nation in our image, only to watch it collapse in 15 days in August 2021. For $2.3 trillion, we left behind $7 billion in high-tech hardware for a regime that lives in the 7th century. We didn't build a democracy, we funded a vacuum. Since 2001, the total War on Terror invoice has surpassed $8 trillion. Let's look at where that money actually went. It didn't go to the soldiers on the ground, it went to the boardroom. $2.4 trillion flowed directly to defense giants. Meanwhile, $1.1 trillion has been spent just on interest payments because we fought these wars on a credit card. And now, the 2026 counter-China pivot. The U.S. is spending $3.4 trillion to pivot to Asia. This could have eliminated all $1.7 trillion of U.S. student debt, twice. Instead, we are building island chains in the Pacific, while our own bridges at home are labeled structurally deficient. We are protecting the world's trade routes while our own roads crumble. While America was spending $8 trillion on the desert, China was spending its peace dividend on the future. China has spent the last 20 years letting the U.S. be the world's policeman. They let the U.S. pay the blood and the treasure to keep the oil lanes open, while they signed the contracts to buy the oil. The result? China built 25,000 miles of high-speed rail. The U.S. spent that same capital on wars that resulted in no new territory and less security. China is the merchant of 2026. They sell the components the U.S. needs for its missiles, and then they sell the 5G towers to the nations the U.S. has left behind. They are winning the century without firing a single shot. The lesson of the Suwałki Gap, the Iraq invasion, and Operation Epic Fury is the same. Military power is a depreciating asset. A missile is worth nothing the moment it explodes. But a child with an education is an asset that grows for 70 years. In 2026, we have the most advanced military in history. But our life expectancy is declining. We have invaded the world only to find that we have locked ourselves out of our own future. Is Donald Trump mad for starting this war? Or is he just the latest actor in a 25-year-old script that we refuse to stop reading? I'm Malik. The receipts are on the table. It's time we decide what we are actually buying. Stay curious. Stay vigilant.